5 common reasons people quit CPAP. Hi, I'm your host, Chris, with AffinityHM, and I'm here to share with you the 5 most common reasons that I've seen people quit CPAP. And more importantly, I want to share with you how to avoid these problems. So the 5 common reasons people quit CPAP. We're going to go from the least most common to the most common, starting with 5, skin irritation. Obviously, having that CPAP mask on, whether it's nasal pillows or the full face CPAP or the nasal CPAP, all of these CPAP devices are coming in contact with your skin. Then there's the straps. So all of these skin contacts can cause various irritations. One easy, quick solution is to have the correct mask. And another great solution is to try mask liners. So it's a piece of cloth that comes in between the mask and your skin that prevents this. Also, you can get the strap covers that get rid of the problems with the lines on your face and that irritation. Number 4, aerophagia, bloating, and gas. This is what happens with this CPAP pressure coming in. It can get, actually, instead of going through your trachea and into your airway and your lungs, it can actually go into your esophagus, which then goes into your stomach. The way to keep that from happening is to make sure you're on the correct pressure. Sometimes BiPAP helps instead of CPAP. And next is really the most important one, is the positioning of your head. If your head is leaned way back, then that's going to be uncomfortable and bad for your neck. If your head is leaned way forward, then you're going to have a more likely possibility of the air actually going into your esophagus. So if you're sleeping like this, then the air is likely to go into your esophagus. So basically, keep your head level in a perpendicular 90-degree angle with your body, and that's going to reduce the aerophagia. Also, like I mentioned, the BiPAP can help as well. Next, the sensation that I can't breathe normally. That is very common, especially with people new on CPAP. When you first get on CPAP, it's so different from what you're used to. With CPAP, you're not going to have that same full exhalation sensation. In other words, what I'm saying is right now you're not using CPAP, right? So when you breathe out, you breathe all of your air out and you have that sensation. That is what exhaling is, right? With CPAP, you're not going to breathe out as much air. There's going to be a certain amount of pressure and air that remains in your lungs, but that's all fine. The elasticity of your rib cage, your lungs, once you're asleep, you're going to exhale that CO2. It's all going to be fine. It just feels very, very different. So that is something that you can get used to by actually using the CPAP during the day. Put it on while you're watching a movie or something along that. Watch some TV shows, watch a movie, and use your CPAP. And once you get your mind set on something different other than every single breath, you'll become more and more acclimated, and it really will help a lot. Number 2, the best one is next, okay? So stay with me. But the number 2 most common thing that I see is people complaining with dry nose and or a dry mouth. That is real common as well. Now, one word of caution: if you are using a nasal device, nasal pillows or a nasal mask, and you're having a problem with your mouth drying out, then the most likely possibility is that actually your mouth is coming open. So you may need a chin strap or some of this Somniflex tape over your mouth, something to kind of keep your mouth closed. A chin strap is really great, or go ahead and switch to a full face mask over your nose and mouth. Ideally, you would always be breathing through your nose unless you have some sort of problem with a deviated septum or something like that. But if your mouth is coming open and you're on a nasal device, yeah, it's going to dry out because the air pressure goes right in your nose, right out your mouth, completely dries it out. Even more importantly, if your mouth's coming open in that situation, you're not getting the therapy that you need because there's no pressure in your airway to keep it open while you're sleeping. So some solutions. As long as the mask situation is fine and you're still having dry nose, then increase the temperature on your humidifier, increase it a little bit, and see if that is all that's needed. Another good solution is keep a glass of water by your bed, drink a little bit before you go to bed. If you go to the restroom, drink a little more. So just keeping a moisture in your mouth is helpful. And then thirdly, there are some Xylomelt mints and other things such as that you can use that can really take care of that dry mouth. Now, for the number one, and the one I really wanted to address the most, why do people quit CPAP? It's because there's no evidence of a change. So many people who have mild sleep apnea, they might have mild sleep apnea. They were snoring. Maybe the wife or the husband said, hey, you're snoring a lot, and I think I sense you stopping breathing. You go get a sleep study. You don't think anything's wrong. You go get the sleep study, and indeed, you do have some apnea. It's not a whole lot. You know, one must have over 30 apneas an hour to be considered severe. And if you're having, let's say, 9 or 10 apneas an hour, that is mild sleep apnea. So then you get your CPAP machine, you have mild sleep apnea, and you can't really tell much of a difference. You can't tell that it's making any difference. You don't feel any different. You always felt like you slept fine. And now you're told you have sleep apnea. You're trying the CPAP machine. You can't sense a difference. You quit. I would encourage everyone with mild sleep apnea, please stick with it. Those who have severe sleep 50, 60, I mean, I've seen 90, I've seen over 100 apneas without the CPAP, apneas per hour. Those folks, when they get their CPAP machine, they typically see a marked difference in their sleep immediately, right after the first night. So they are less likely to quit. So the most likely to quit people are the lower your apneas without CPAP, the more likely you are to quit. Now, here's why I want to encourage you to not quit the CPAP, even if you have mild sleep apnea. It's because, well, have you ever tried just holding your breath, let's say 10 times per hour for at least, 15, 20, 30 seconds or more? Well, it's not comfortable. It's not good. Your body's telling you need to breathe. So obviously, whether the sleep apnea is mild, let's say it's that 9 or 10 number, that is enough to really cause some physical problems, especially long-term, if we're talking about every single night. So I wanted to talk with you about that and encourage you to definitely do not quit, you guys. Keep using that CPAP. If you're having problems, especially any of these problems that we've talked about right here, reach out with a question or a comment here on the YouTube channel or in Facebook. Our group is called CPAP for Beginners in Facebook. Fantastic group. You guys are doing awesome there. Thank you for that. And on the YouTube channel, you can just search AffinityHM. Now, if you're new on CPAP, I want to encourage you to go look at our 3-part series. It's about 5 minutes. Each video is about 5 minutes, and it's a 3-part series, 1, 2, and 3. It's called CPAP Boot Camp. The CPAP Boot Camp on YouTube is really helpful for getting you started in the right direction and making sure that you are successful with 0 apneas. That's what we're looking for. 0 apneas and a wonderful and great night of sleep. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye. Y'all have a good night.